Onlyfans.com.
Onlyfans.gov.
Arriba.
I didn't have a shot ready. That's okay. Well, it's been a little while, but welcome back to another episode of Toilet Wines. And we do toilet wines when Dylan's not around. This time Dylan's not around because he's currently on trial for being a witch. And he's hoping for stones, not burning. And
it was
I'm
only a matter of time. You spend enough time in Salem, and eventually everyone gets called a witch.
Yeah, that's why that city has the highest turnover rate of population. Yeah. But he's not
and the
here.
highest
Hopefully...
execution rate of teenage girls of any Massachusetts town by far.
But hopefully he can make a deal with them or the devil and get off the stand and meet us back here for the next episode.
Ay, Dios mío. We pray for his safe return. He's got a good lawyer, though, so he should be all right.
Yes.
Be able to plead that down to 5 years manslaughter should be fun. Good behavior, maybe he's out in 3 years. And then maybe when he gets out, we can do episode 100 at that point.
Yeah, or episode 80.
Timing works out. Yeah, or episode 80.
That'd be a good one, too. Something like we would be that would have been done by now if he wasn't at the trial.
This would be episode 80, but because Dylan can't be with us, God rest his soul, if he is still alive, then I'm glad, I guess. But yeah, we're doing a toilet wines this week again for the first time in a while.
And what are we doing it about this week, Joe?
We're doing it, when we're recording this podcast, it's on the evening of Cinco de Mayo. So I decided to absolutamente look into the cryptids once more. We're getting our hands dirty back here for the first time on Toilet Wine. This is a Dylan Joe Basement Podcast staple. We're getting back into cryptids once again. We've been too serious for too long about real life stuff that's not mysterious and crazy. So this week we're talking about none other than El Chupacabra, the goat sucker itself.
Now, when was the last time you sucked a goat? Because I haven't done it in a while. It takes a lot of energy, so this has to be a real beast to suck multiple goats in one night.
Yeah, well, a true lady never sucks and tells, so you'll just have to leave that to the imagination there, Dominic.
Who said anything about being a lady?
I did. I'm a lady.
Oh, you're like that character on MASH.
No, he's awesome, and he's a man.
He's great. I can never remember his name.
I can't remember his name either, but he's great. He's great. He's part of a long-standing military tradition of cross-dressing and then don't ask, don't tell right afterwards. But yeah, so we were talking about El Chupacabra. This is the legend of the goat sucker, which is what it translates to in English. Doesn't sound as fierce and ominous if you just call it the goat sucker. But I guess with the connotations behind it, it seems a little bit scary because all these visions that have come to my head, learning about it as a kid, it seems pretty terrifying. It's something like a werewolf, vampire, beast kind of. It slaughters in the night, red glowing eyes. Like it definitely freaked me out as a kid, and I definitely thought it was like a Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster, cryptid style beast that had been part of a legend of the town.
And it's not like Bigfoot's and Loch Ness monster where it's like, oh, there's no people are like, hey, look, I found this dead chupacabra. People are like, oh, what the fuck is that?
People find evidence of the chupacabra. It's actual evidence.
Yeah, so it's real. End of episode.
So it's real.
Glad you stopped by Toilet Wines. See you next week.
Gotcha again. Oh, wrong show. Yeah, but still. Yeah, so what is El Chupacabra?
Well,
the first fact about it surprised me, which is when it first was discovered, which was in my lifetime. Yeah, I could not believe that. I was like, this must be like a 50-year-old at least, maybe like 80-year-old legend. Maybe it's even like the Skinwalker, where it's a couple hundred-year-old, native legend. And I couldn't have been more wrong about that. It came out in the public eye when I was alive already. It's like,
aliens supposedly landed in Roswell well before this.
Yes, for
40 years.
Yeah, exactly. That seems like the newest one should be aliens. But yeah, no, it's in 1995 is the first public mention of El Chupacabra. And it happened not in Mexico, where I would have thought it was from, Puerto Rico, as long as we're translating, rich port.
That's
goat-sucker.
what that means?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and Costa Rica is rich coast.
Ah.
It means you're going to get rich if you go there.
Naturally.
Mm-hmm. Puerto Rico, and it happens in 1995, in I think the summertime. And what happens,
I believe the town was Canavaros or something like that.
Canavaros. And what happened was what you'd mentioned, or what you noticed from this Chupacabra, which is the goat-sucking aspect of it, and it distinguishes it from foxes or wolves or anything that can get into your livestock, which is what it's, we know with all cryptids, the best way to make yourself know is to kill livestock, because they can't talk, and they won't say, and dead cows tell no tales, as well as goats. So what happened was they had a string of dead livestock, nights in a row. Once a week, twice a week, it was an epidemic of dead livestock, and they're thinking, is this, wolf? I mean, I don't think there's wolves in Puerto Rico. Maybe
seriously
coyotes. All kinds of predators or, mongoose, weasels, whatever's there.
Yep.
But there's a distinct difference. They were finding these animals dead with no blood around them, no sign of viscera. They weren't disemboweled. Their heads weren't cut off. They had a fang mark on their neck or somewhere on their body.
2 fang marks.
Yep, 2 fangs.
Almost like a vampire.
Or somewhere like a vampire, like a bloodsucker, like a goat sucker, and a chupa vampire. And and these animals were dead, and their blood was drained out, and it was multiple a night. This became a problem.
And it's not, obviously that's what started the whole question of like, well, what is this thing? Because obviously you live on a farm, foxes, coyotes, wolves, whatever you have, clearly they're attacking your livestock all the time.
You see a fox
your
coming
main
into
goal is
the
to not
hen
do it.
house.
The animal
There's
is
evidence.
Either completely gone, dragged away, or in pieces, blood, fur all over the place. This is, imagine walking out and seeing like, oh, look, my chickens, rabbits, and goats are all dead with 2 little pinholes in their neck, and that's it.
It almost looks like a disease set in and slowly killed them, except it happened overnight, and there's a puncture wound. So it's very mysterious. It's very scary and strange. And I can see why people got upset about it, especially, when you have no history of this. This is the first time you're seeing this, and it's happening so often that entire towns are panicking. They started having kids be escorted to school. It was a sign of emergency. The mayor got involved. It was fully fledged, like, we need to solve the Chupacabra.
That mayor, problem. By the way, that mayor is a bona fide badass.
That guy is something else.
He
serves the people. Let's put it that way. He serves the people.
Chupacabra attacks start in 1995. His re-election is 1996. World's going to end in 4 years. He's like, we got to go catch this thing. Let's get an army of people, including armed police officers.
Oh, yeah, he brought in the big guns to kill the Chupacabra.
He stood in the bed of a truck with a giant cross while a trailer pulled a goat in a cage.
Well, how else
so they
would
could
you
get this thing?
How else would you do it? That's the way to do it, right? Because then you have the strength of Christ protecting you, and you have the bait, and everyone has their semi-automatic assault rifles to kill
200 people walking around a goat is definitely going to get a predator to be like, that looks like a safe way to go get that animal.
Worth it.
Be like, come on.
It's almost like he staged the whole thing for public. It's almost like he wanted to do kind of a semi-religious, gesture to get reelected.
It turns out
you gotta know that
people
shit.
have the rings with the chains in between them. On like his pinky and his middle finger, he's got that. The chains on the inside with 2 spikes on the outside. He just goes around and punches animals in the neck.
I'm gonna get reelected next year, man. Pop, pop, pop.
Well, and they only catch him because he goes to a press conference still wearing it and there's still blood on it.
It's still bleeding. And he starts sucking it, and they go, El Chupacabra! But yeah, I mean, I think a Chupacabra would be great for your reelection. I mean, basically, there's no real threat as far as, like, political pressure. Like, you can't do anything about it. It's not your fault. But you can make a big gesture of hunting it down, and people will reelect you because you're saving the town. It's almost like a werewolf or a vampire. It's great. Or witches.
Or a hurricane.
It's very good to have it happen. You go, we're going to solve it. It's not my fault, but we're going to solve it. And then, or a 9/11, and you go, not my fault, we're going to solve it. And you become the most popular mayor of New York City of all time.
And
basically, the Chupacabra was the
then you're in a
9/11
Borat
of
movie.
Puerto Rico. What'd you say?
I said, then you're in a Borat movie.
Exactly. Anyways, Chupacabra.
Anyways. Yeah.
So my 9/11 line. How dare you?
Oh, that really just
We
threw us
probably will
off
get more
course.
clicks if we name this the 9/11 of Puerto Rico rather than Chupacabra. We'll get lost
The
in the shuffle.
9/11 of Puerto Rico, not Hurricane Mary or Marie that
actually
killed,
devastated.
devastated like not that long ago. No, the Chupacabra, about 10 years, killed 2,000 animals. It was probably a mongoose.
Well, let's not get into that part yet.
Yeah.
We don't have Dylan here pushing us with the bullshit, so we immediately get into who knows?
Yeah.
Well, let's
All right,
get into the description.
Let me hop on Chat GPT really quick so I can find some information about
Your
the episode
script.
we're doing. Dylan, we love you.
So people had not only seen all these livestock going dead, I almost said going missing, but they were still there and dead. They started to witness the actual creature itself, and I'm talking about dozens and dozens of eyewitness reports, not just like speculation. Eyewitness reports saying, I saw the creature, El Chupacabra, and they said it was bipedal. It stands on two legs. It was probably about 3.5 feet tall. It had large eyes, and some descriptions said they were glowing red. But any cryptid or cryptozoologist knows every cryptid's eyes are glowing red in this story. I'm gonna discount that immediately. Every fucking I've heard stories about Bigfoot's eyes glowing red. Even Bigfoot's eyes glow red.
Well, yeah,
Nessie's eyes glow red.
Jack Link's. Anything that's out to get you's eyes glow red. Everyone knows that. It's first grade.
It's first grade stuff here. Come on, SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Wombology.
And, it also thing, especially where I didn't, as I'm sure we'll talk about later, the more common description of a chupacabra. People aren't as familiar with this one from Puerto Rico. Was not expecting for it to have wings like a bat, but it still just walks around with its little hands.
I was, because of all my actual illustrations that I've seen of it. Most of the illustrations I've seen are this description. Let's not get into the second one yet. Let's talk about this one.
Yeah.
But that's the one I mostly know. It's the fangs, it's the bipedal, it's the bat wings, almost with like a vampire bat like head shape and like the wings. But like you said, the wings don't actually fly. It's just kind of like crawling around like seeing a fruit bat on the ground where they kind of like walk around, but they still have their wings.
Almost like seeing like the illustrations of like lower level like demons and ghouls. They have the wings, but they're so small.
Yeah,
and
they don't really use them. They're just part of their genetic structure.
Also, as soon as I heard wings like a bat, all I could think of is, remember that Adult Swim commercial short where it's Rainn Wilson on the video dating thing? And his Carlor, who has wings like an angel, but also like a demon. Carlor can fuck anything, and he will and has.
And
women,
has.
Animals, angels.
That's from Tim and Eric. Awesome show. Great job.
You have to get with him because my penis is just ahead. It's like someone glued an acorn to the bottom of my torso. And it's Rainn Wilson.
Funnier is to take Rainn Wilson's nose out and make him even more. We can't put the clip in, but you guys can look it up. Just look up Carlor.
It's so good. Carlor.
It's very funny. Even you people who don't like stupid Adult Swim stuff will still like it. Because Rainn Wilson, being a nerd.
It is
Who
great.
don't like that? He's the guy who gets less funnier the more I hear from him personally. I like to think of him as a character.
The more I know about him, the more I'm like, oh, you're kind of an asshole.
He's in like an actor. Like it's much funnier him being like, oh yeah. But I love his characters. Obviously, Dwight, the movie where he's a superhero, and then
Super.
Yeah, Super. Yeah, I like him in both those.
Also, his very first movie credit, he was in Galaxy Quest.
I wouldn't even remember that. I haven't seen Galaxy Quest. That's good for a rewatch.
It's so good.
Sure.
It's so good.
I haven't seen it since I am at the point in my life to appreciate it. I loved it as a kid, but I think I'd like it a lot more now.
We saw it collectively,
We saw
my father and Angela on TV with commercials. First time we ever saw it, like a year before.
How you and your dad watch TV all the time.
Your
dad has seen more hours of movies than me in a year because he watches an extra 40 minutes every time he watches a movie of
Yeah.
commercials.
Also, he'll watch the same movie 5 days in a row because he never catches all of it. By the end of the 5 days, he's seen it all.
He's seen it all, including 20 OxyClean heads.
Sorry, I should just try to stop burping so loudly.
At least save it for when we're drunk, and not just do it early on.
Yeah, we watched.
This is an audio medium, by the way.
Yeah, we watched
I know
it
we're on camera.
only like a year before Alan Rickman died. So, and it was on like all the time because they get the rights for like 3 months. They play it nonstop.
I thought you were gonna say because they saw his diagnosis, like, all right, start playing it now.
Start playing his real masterpiece. Not any of the Harry Potters. Not Die Hard. Galaxy
Not Michael
Quest.
Collins, where he plays the president of the IRA. Nope, none of that stuff. Not Sweeney Todd.
Is that a Roth IRA?
All right, I'm stopping the podcast.
Okay. I'm going to go drown myself, and you just finish the podcast because that was terrible.
Well, if you float, you're a witch, and if you die, well, you're not a witch, so we'll forgive you.
Yeah. Oh, love that.
So, anyway, the description ends with that there's spines on its back, and the bat wings and the whole thing, and that was what was going on in for 6 months. Oh yeah, scaly, no fur, scaly, rough skin to it, and that was basically that like 6 month period in Puerto Rico where it was like a state of national emergency, where there was a goat sucker around killing livestock, and obviously. It's easy to dismiss like livestock deaths in America to be like, oh yeah, a cow died, which is obviously sad. But for people who are running a farm, if you wake up and 20 chickens are dead, it's almost like they stole your car. Like you're out like a big financial. You're
not
trouble.
just meat or eggs. It's the way to make your own.
That's
chickens
money.
For
Yeah,
free.
I mean that is a major. I mean that's why it gets so much attention. I think it wasn't just the brutality of the deaths and the creepiness of it. It was that they were hurting people's livelihood. It was not a good thing, and it became like I said, the National Guard of Puerto Rico, which should be the National Guard because they're an American territory, but it wasn't.
Yep, it's ridiculous.
It was the mayor and his buddies.
Couldn't be any closer to being a state without not being a state.
Yeah, it's just so, and the fact that Hawaii is and Puerto Rico isn't is so funny.
Oh, I know.
Puerto Rico's like, we're right here. Like, no, Hawaii is, not you.
You know what I was thinking the other day?
That part of Canada we own, that's a state, not you.
Yeah.
You're way too Spanish.
That thing,
you're way too fucking
if you go
Spanish.
to the farthest corner of it, it's only 20 miles from Russia. That's in the U.S.
That's the U.S., not the USSR. U.S.
No, we're back in the USSR.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's definitely because they're Spanish, right? It has to be. At this point, it is. They don't have enough money or enough power to be a state.
Yeah.
So if all those American senators have to have an entire voting block, which means an extra 2 senators and probably an extra 2 representatives, and probably more because their population is probably bigger than Wyoming, Puerto Rico.
Oh,
so they have to have like. So then
San
people
Juan
are voting.
Is probably a bigger city than anything in Wyoming.
Yeah, for sure. So you have to imagine that that's a giant voting block, which everything in U.S. policy affects them. But at the same time, we're like, we don't want them Spanish people deciding what happens over here.
Yeah.
We decide what happens over there.
It's all going to be. They're going to be like, hey, they're just going to vote for the people that gave them all the money to help them rebuild after devastating hurricanes. Like,
just like you did. Just like you did every hurricane that hits you. Imagine that. They're going to vote for the president that doesn't want immigration to be a crime every single time.
Yeah.
Because all their fucking family lives there. Big shocker there.
I saw a pretty good dad joke the other day on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's it doesn't get much of a laugh. It's more of a, but here it goes.
Great. Put it on video.
The U.S. should really make Puerto Rico, Washington, D.C., and Guam states, because then there'll be 53 states. And 53 is a prime number. Only then will we be a country indivisible.
With liberty and justice for some. That actually is funny. I like that. It's clever. But I consider the fact that probably Puerto Rico has very lax gun laws. I mean, they are federally protected as an American territory. So I wonder if you're allowed to have more guns there legally than in other islands in the area.
Perhaps. That's a strong possibility.
Obviously, there's states' laws on guns, but territory laws are those own things. But I bet that if they want to have like federal gun shipments, you can ship guns to any state in the U.S. without penalty. And I imagine that Puerto Rico is probably the same way.
Yeah,
I mean, laws are probably like,
when you're ordering something online,
there's a lot of people with guns around here. We're not worried about revolting against the U.S. government because we're already oppressed by them. So why do we let all our citizens have assault rifles? But
you must be able to order them.
I would assume. I don't know. I never looked at
anything you buy online when you're picking your state. If you scroll, like it'll have Marshall Islands, Guam, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico,
all the territories, which is so insane now that they're still territories. The idea that we use that, it sounds not that weird, but it's like it should be called conquered provinces. Okay. Like these are conquered countries. The territory of American Samoa. Yeah, what the hell is that?
Like,
those are just some islands we just ran over.
Yeah, it's just in Asia. No big deal.
Yeah. You think of things like French Guiana in South America, you're like,
oh, yeah,
that's so
France,
creepy.
France has technically the largest border in the world because they have France, and then a country, an island off the coast of Brazil is owned by France.
French Guiana, yeah.
So that's technically France has the largest border because of the distance between, because France is on the water, it's not landlocked, so it's like, you can draw a line between, this is all France right here. Both of these.
Oops, all France. I don't know enough French words to make a joke about that, but yeah, that's pretty stupid.
Yep. Well, they are French.
It's a joke in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to all our Canadian listeners. We haven't had any French listeners so far, so why don't you parlez-vous your own language there, Pierre? All the listeners are from Belgium or Ireland or in America, and that's it.
America.
I'm sure Belgium has their own gripes against France, being that the
reason, like, hey, we're not
bordered
France,
them or are very
speak
close.
French because of you.
French fries, French waffles.
I don't speak French.
You want to take our first break?
Let's do it.
I think we should.
Every once in a while, often, sometimes, someone swears they've seen the mythical Chupacabra.
Yeah, sometimes they even catch the creature on camera, or what they think is the creature on camera, like one man in Houston.
KPRC's Phil Archer spoke to that man about his unusual discovery.
Could it be a blood-sucking Chupacabra is on the loose? Well, Justin Ferris thinks so, says he saw one running along this fence line on his way to work this morning. And he's got the pictures, he says, prove it. Fuzzy shots of an animal along League Line Road near Hallmark. Why is it pictures of Chupacabras and Bigfoot are always out of focus?
They're a little blurry because we were still trying to move and that thing was running down the fence line and we wanted to get it before it went, and then all of a sudden, right off the League Line, it went off into the brush.
Justin says he's seen them before. He describes himself as a Chupacabra hunter.
This is about my fourth one that I sighted. This is the second one we've gotten on camera. So yeah, my buddies at work, Colby and Josh, they couldn't believe that I actually got it on camera.
By definition, a Chupacabra is an animal said to exist in parts of Latin America where it supposedly attacks other animals, especially goats. Before 1995, no one had ever claimed to have seen one. The first sighting, allegedly in Puerto Rico. There have been thousands of sightings since then, but none has ever been verified, though you'll find a lot of folks on the internet who claim to know what they look like. Josh says he knows. He says he shot this Chupacabra in Central Texas 7 years ago. I want to show you a picture.
Okay.
We asked for an expert opinion from Susan Schmaltz, an animal rehabilitator and the director of the Wildlife Center of Texas. Can you identify that animal?
Yeah, I would say that's a coyote.
Have you ever treated a Chupacabra in a wild?
No. I mean, those are truly, no, we don't have those here. They're mythical, really. I mean, there's a lot of people report that, but no, that's a coyote.
In Panorama Village, I'm Phil Archer for KSAT 12 News.
Toilet wines. And we are talking about El Chupacabra today. And we just talked about how, not like what we would all think of, that should start in Puerto Rico, but there are the rumors inland, Mexico, southwestern America. So let's talk about that, Joe. What do you got for information on the mainland Chupacabra?
So somehow the legend, or perhaps the creature or creatures, crossed the ocean, or more perhaps accurately,
The ocean blue
Gulf of
in
Mexico.
1492.
No, the Gulf of Mexico.
That's
and
right.
made
You
to the
heard it here
mainland.
first. Christopher Columbus was a chupacabra.
He definitely sucked the blood of a lot of people,
Welcome to the new Info Wars.
metaphorically and physically. You heard it first. The Chupacabra is the colonists, the European colonists. 1895. I mean, it'll be my next impression I do after Jordan Peterson. I'll do 20 minutes on Alex Jones. I
Yes.
don't think that the Chupacabra was at all questionably an animal or even a force of God. I don't believe that, even for a second. So anyways, it crossed the Gulf of Mexico, and the Chupacabra sightings in 1996 start popping up in Mexico, as well as Central America, and in the same year, the southwestern United States, as Dom mentioned. Now, there's something different about this Chupacabra. It has the similar features. It stalks in the night where you can't see it. It has those fang marks. Its livestock are drained of blood and they're dead in the night. I mean, you wake up one morning, 4 of your favorite rabbits are struck dead, is one of the clips that I heard the guy said. His 4 favorite rabbits in the morning were all dead. And they were all still intact. Their bodies weren't ripped apart. Their meat wasn't eaten, but their blood was drained. And that is not what usually happens of a wolf, fox, or even a bear attack. It's a strange circumstance. And many theories popped up in Puerto Rico, and even more theories popped up in Mexico, but the description of the Chupacabra changed. It went from a bipedal, bat-winged, spiny, large-eye type creature to a more of a quadrupedal or four-legged kind of dog-like creature with large fangs. Again, gotta have those fangs for the Chupacabraing. You're talking those ghosts. But I heard it described as basically having a kangaroo's back legs and a coyote's front legs. So it has like the larger legs are in the back, and they have those big hind quarters.
Well, yeah. How else would
kind
it
of
have
quads.
jumped over from Puerto Rico?
Right, to jump across the entire Gulf of Mexico,
Yep.
which is some, multi.
I could probably do it. Give me enough training, I could probably do it.
You believe in yourself a
yeah,
little too much.
it's a huge difference in description from what they were seeing in Puerto
Yeah.
Rico.
It's two different animals. If you were a biologist, but these are two different animals, clearly.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. It's like
The only similarity, and also migrations of that size that are not human-induced take, 20,000 years for an animal to live from that part of the world to another part of the world. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
And for obviously, if you have human intervention, you can drop off an invasive species in no time. And maybe that's part of the story. A Chupacabra baby got on a boat going from Puerto Rico to San Juan, and then you
San
find
Juan
out,
is in Puerto Rico.
Oh, I mean, that's why I thought of that. Right, you went from Puerto Rico to Puerto Rico. You go wherever you can go in here. I meant to say Cabo. No, Mexico City. What am I talking about? Mexico City.
Tijuana.
No, Tijuana, because then you'd have to cross the whole land mass to get there. I'm going to say Mexico City, or a border town in Mexico, which I guess Mexico has a border town too. Anyways, the Chupacabra is obviously crossed into the mainland North America, and it starts having cases not only in Mexico, and I've already heard the news stories from Puerto Rico, so it's a similar amount of alarm. And then in Arizona, southern Texas, it starts to spread up to the United States.
Actually, I think that's another good thing to mention, that they were already hearing about it. This wasn't some local newspaper
they knew
thing.
about
This was like international news that this was happening.
Yes, definitely. And that's why, in the 6 months prior, everyone had been primed to hear about the Chupacabra, which, as we mentioned earlier, was not a mythical animal from lore and history. It is a new phenomenon that had just popped up.
Yes, it is younger than Apple.
Younger than me.
Yeah, it's true. It's not younger than me. It's just about the same age as me.
You're the Chupacabra.
I am the Chupacabra.
It all lines up. Think about it. If you look at their documents that have been disclosed from Puerto Rico, Dominic Morrow more the same exact time.
You think it says this, but you got to look at it this way to see what it actually means.
See, now the globalists try to hide that for you. When Dominic Morrow got born.
Do you think Alex Jones was really, really wanted to be a Hulk impersonator, and he failed, so he started InfoWars? Because he kind of talks like Hulk Hogan.
No, well, I think what happened is he started talking tough when he was in his early 20s, when he first started his broadcasting. And the more cigars and whiskey he took in, the gruffer his voice got. but it got more intense. But I don't think he's trying to impersonate anybody. I think he's trying to be the most manly version of himself he can be, to his own detriment at any given time.
Indeed.
So on that aspect, we're talking about two different chupacabras here by description alone. I'm not saying that it's two different species, different things. They're clearly a different looking. I'll try to put up pictures of both of them to see like what they both were described to have looked like, and there's obviously artist renditions of the chupacabra. But you'd be hard pressed to say by any actual, zoologist, biologist, paleontologist to say this is the same animal. The only thing that keeps it the same is the aftermath that take them together. It's like saying, a bear and a lion both tear an animal apart, and you go, those are both bears because look what they did to it. But the descriptions are much different. They're both large beasts with claws and fur and large teeth, but a bear and a lion are definitely different animals.
Completely different.
And these two chupacabras that they're describing, at the very least, are two different species.
Yeah, even more different.
Both chupacabraing. Yes, even more different than a lion and a bear.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a wardrobe.
But yeah, that's how it started to spread to America. And the stories start coming out in the newspapers and first-hand accounts, and people saying they visually had seen the chupacabra because they're on high alert.
And I don't know if you want to get into this yet, but different between the Mexican chupacabra and the Puerto Rican one is physical evidence. They're finding corpses.
Let's get into that right now.
Go ahead. What they're saying, oh, this is the chupacabra. What is this thing? It's gray. It has the sharp fangs. It was vicious. And what they found, I'm sure you're going to put a bunch of different pictures of claimed chupacabras.
Yes.
What they found in tests is every single time. I found a dead chupacabra. It was a raccoon, dog, or coyote with either some sort of like genetic abnormality or just a really bad case of mange, or it's losing its fur, it's scratching, its skin gets all toughened up and gets darker and has no fur, and it goes crazy. And
I didn't know you were going to go that far. I was going to get into the cases where people, keep a little mystery for the folks. But
I don't know any of the cases. So
and every single case is completely fake. Dom is right. No, he's right. This isn't Dylan Joe Baseball Podcast. This is fucking Toilet Wine. Right to the end. It's fucking bullshit. The chupacabra does not exist. Everything's explainable. Evidence is evidence. And if you take evidence in, you get an actual source out of it. And Dom brings up a great point, which is that there's no evidence of the chupacabra in Puerto Rico at all. They had no evidence besides the deaths of the animals. But in Mexico and America, they started finding animals that fit the description, like Dom just said, and when you actually test them and bring them into a laboratory or a scientific setting, you can get your answer. You don't have to worry about, tired farmers at 6 a.m. hearing something in the backyard and whatever they saw, which is already... If you see something in broad daylight a week ago, you're already less reliable than one scientific experiment. But if you see something in the darkness and you're
after
scared,
working all day long, probably drinking some moonshine to kill the pain after working all day.
Yeah, sure, why not? You earned it. But no, it's insane that people would think, there's obviously a new species of animal. It's a freak accident. It's the Occam's razor of the whole thing, man. It's what's the most simple solution is most commonly the solution. Doesn't mean it has to be all the time, but you should look there first. And looking there first is there's multiple animals that like to kill livestock that aren't chupacabras.
Yeah, and you don't know. It could, animals not getting eaten. Well, if you're a big herd of sheep, this thing comes in, kills one. The other sheep, I know they're prey. If they freak out and start stampeding, that animal, that predator, is getting the fuck out of there. And it's not going back.
It will die if it gets
I'm not
trampled.
dying for this. So that's why it got bit and it didn't eat it. It's like, oh, wow, it's almost like that's never happened before. Yeah, of course it happens. I bet the ones where the animal does get eaten, you're not reporting it. You're like, well, that was a wolf. But that one where it didn't eat it, that's a chupacabra.
Yeah, if you have the dead body, it's a wolf. If you don't have it, chupacabra. Obviously. And the points on the body where they bite down is the neck, which I guess for vampire stories is also like where Dracula bites down. That's also where canines bite down. And the two teeth that we have that are Dracula teeth are the same in any mammal. They're called the canine teeth. There were canines have. And part of it that took me back by the stories was the fact that all their blood was drained out. Much like there is an animal called a vampire bat, and there's other species such as spiders that actually do have fangs with hollow points that they do actually drain out fluid through the body, and they take it in. And I'm like, oh, maybe there was some kind of vampire bat situation where it was drawing blood. I mean, vampire bats have known to feed on cows and livestock. Not to the point of draining their whole body, because the amount of blood in a cow could drown a bat 20 times over, but okay. But it turns out that most of the stories where they said that all the blood was drained, they were really meant to say there was no blood at the scene. When they did an autopsy of the animal, full of blood. Completely full. With 2 puncture marks, and it's completely full of blood. So that's a little different than saying there was no blood at the scene, meaning it wasn't torn to shreds by a wolf, or that there was a puncture wound and the animal died.
This animal bit and didn't hit a main artery.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of blood on the ground. Must have drank all the blood.
Must have drank it. But the animal's dead. It's not good. But yeah, I think that's a major part of it. And I think that we're on the old debunking aspect, which we should get into now, is that, like Dom said, there's a lot of scientific experience with it, because although many cryptids have had quote-unquote evidence, like Bigfoot plaster feet or photos of Nessie, the Chupacabra has the most evidence tested of any cryptid I've ever seen, because they have these, dead animals that come in and they look very freaky. They have, they have that same skin tone, the gnarled teeth, the fucked up face, all the creepy creature aspects of it. But when you either study its genetics, its skin, or its skeleton, it turns out to, in every case that I've heard of, be a canine, whether it is a straight up dog, a straight up coyote. Sometimes it's been a mix, which, because of the similarities in DNA, coyotes, wolves, and dogs can sometimes interbreed and make a new species, which that's basically the equivalent of, incestuous mating, where you're just asking for mutations when you have 2 different species. Like, it can get all weird. The paws can get weird.
Labradoodles.
All the kind of freaks of nature that come up there. And not only that, I didn't even know about this type of dog that I learned about today, where it's called the Zola, also known as the Zolaquintl, which is definitely a Mexican name because it comes from the Aztec name. It's literally the Mexican hairless dog, which is a dead ringer,
like gray, just
for the Chupacabra. Yeah, you don't even need to lose your fur to be like, that's a fucking Chupacabra.
And they look great.
And Mexico is famous for having, homeless dogs, aka stray dogs.
Yeah, homeless dogs.
That be? Yeah, dogs without a home. Unhoused dogs. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say homeless. But, I mean, it's all leading up to, the fucking Chupacabra is a fucking Mexican hairless dog.
Mexican dog, yeah. It's put it right next to the Mexican jumping bean. It's not a supernatural being. It's explained by science.
What it is. Yeah. It's just what it is, and it died or whatever. But yeah, I think you bring up a good point where, like, it doesn't have to be there to make the kill all night. And yeah, there's still a lot of sustenance be gained by drinking blood, outside of this reason why this entire species are sustained by it.
So while we're on the topic of what the Mexican one ended up being, do you want to talk about some theories on what the Puerto Rican one was?
Yes. And then I want to talk about mange after that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so for the Puerto Rican one, obviously, there's no recorded or popularly recorded
there's no scientific evidence or studied of the Puerto Rican one. So just the Mexican.
They're just going off of what the most likely scenario could be. Like, scientists are like, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. There's no other thing. They're thinking it could be, there's a lot of big bats on there.
And to their credit, they did bring scientists in, but they just didn't listen to them. They did bring it in.
Yeah, well, it didn't help that scientists couldn't agree on what it was either. They're like, it's this. Like, no, it's that. Like, no, it's that.
That's how science works.
And
there's no exact answer.
A bunch of different theories. One of the theories was that it was there was a drought going on, and the bats were having a hard time finding food. And they were going around, and they started
that's a vampire.
The animals.
Yeah. And they do drink blood.
Some of them, theories could be, it could have been a pack of wild dogs that had gone savage in order to stay alive, or possibly, believe it or not, some escaped rhesus monkeys from a nearby lab.
That one was one of my favorite ones, because there was rhesus monkeys there, and they got escaped.
Yeah.
And those definitely
But
weren't
it's like, okay, but do you
vampire-biting
have
animals.
reports of them getting out, or are you just saying, well, maybe one got out?
Yeah. But even so, I think it'd be more likely to see people would see the dead animal and they'd see the monkey and they'd be like, "That's what did it." They wouldn't see a monkey feasting on a fucking.
Yeah, it's not gonna. It's gonna get scared, kill the thing, and be like, "Oh, I don't want this."
Yeah.
Some scientists even thought that it was from a spike in mongoose population. We were like, "Oh, there's so much more mongoose." Well, they're running out of small things to eat. They're getting braver and going after bigger stuff.
Right.
But
which they couldn't tear apart.
The
It's too small.
best theory by far is that 40 minutes away from that town in Puerto Rico was the U.S. military Fort Buchanan. And a very popular theory is that a scientific experiment broke out of the fort and went over to the town, and that was the Chupacabra, was some
genetically mutated monster
the government was developing, and it got out.
I mean,
and
that's
it started
the most likely
sucking
explanation.
blood out of their goats.
Yeah, it was a vampire
But
discovered
Tom
by
Brady
science.
never got attacked by it. And it's not because he's too fast, because he won't be able to outrun anything.
No,
but,
he's too furious.
That's
the problem.
He's bi-furious.
He's bi-furious. He's just bilingual and he's biracial. Yeah, no, I think that's an awesome idea. The funny part about that is that NASA had to make a public statement that they have nothing involved with the Chupacabra. Every time NASA has to make a public statement like that, it's like, I know it's beneath them, but they just have to do it to just be like, listen. Because they didn't come out and say it. It's like, they came out and said, it's like, well, they're lying. It's like, well, you really can't win with these people. One of my favorite results of it is that the exact same summer that the Chupacabra incident happened, which obviously what I'm about to say is unrelated to the animal deaths, but it could come to the fear and the mass hysteria of a town, especially in Puerto Rico in 1995. Not a whole lot of critical thinking involved with public discourse. It still doesn't happen in the United States. I'm trying to disparage Puerto Rico, but the internet wasn't so widely available. And what happened that summer was there was a movie called Species that was released in theaters, and it had Sharon Stone in it, I believe. I'll look that up. But it was some hot blonde lady who transforms into a Chupacabra. I know they didn't call that in the movie, but it is a hairless, small, claw humanoid beast that would feed on humans. And I would not be surprised if a lot of people in America and the world around were seeing Species when they were going out at night in their nightmares. I mean, you cannot underestimate the world before the internet, man. Like, seeing anything, the amount of exorcisms that were reported after the movie The Exorcist came out was skyrocketed like 10,000% because it gets into your mind. And I can see my livestock dying, and I see some animal running through the woods. I just watched the movie Species, and I'm like, maybe that's one of those fucking aliens.
It's exactly like
a lot of people thought it was an alien.
You watch any horror movie in a dark room, then you have to go walk upstairs to your bed. You're like,
yes. It's not disparaging.
It just gets in your head. It's just, you're like, oh, that was really
that's all you're thinking about.
Is that possible? I don't know. What was that noise? Was that something just killed my goat? It must be Sharon Stone.
It's got to be Sharon Stone. Well, who else would it be?
Sharon Stone.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I can see that. I don't mean to be, like I said, I don't mean to be disparaging of people, but like that, it's a human response. It's part of your biology. When you see things that cause a threat to you, your brain spikes up and you remember shit like that. You're watching a horror movie. That's the Sharon Stone one. That's Sharon. That Basic Instinct. That's Sharon Stone. Species is a different movie. Oh my god. That is great. Basic Instinct is what I was thinking.
I was just trying to loop the two things together. I didn't know that she wasn't actually in it. I've never seen it.
Amazing. No, but Species is a different movie about an alien, but Basic Instinct is the one with Sharon Stone, and she's also a fucking monster. Yeah, but yeah, anyway. So yeah, there you go, folks. That's what it was. I thought on top of that, too, is that looking into like the actual details of the corpses they found, because this is more in the story, is that they found that a lot of them were infected with mange, which is a not a virus, not a bacteria. It's actually a parasite, and it's almost the same. It's in the same parasitic family as the parasite scabies, which is basically like a mite that lives on your skin, and it makes you so incredibly itchy that you want to go insane and kill yourself. But if you're a human, you can try to go to a doctor or try to like figure out what it's all about, and you're still gonna go crazy, but you're not gonna hurt yourself beyond repair.
And
but
scabies is such a minor thing that they even make a joke about it in SpongeBob, where he's trying to get a birthday cake, and it's last minute, and it says sorry about the scabies, and he goes, "Can you make it say Happy Birthday, Patrick?" And the lady just goes, "You get what you get," and he was like, "Okay," and he buys a cake that says sorry about the scabies in a kids show.
Because it's so, kids don't get it. It's like one of those things where you don't have to be that worried about it. Or kids in America don't get it, in other words. But no, basically the fact that I always thought that mange was a different disease than scabies, because I thought it was like a virus. And I thought it made you lose your hair. But actually what it makes is your skin. No, that's Alpo. That's what dogs eat. It basically makes your skin so raw because of the mites on it that it's so itchy that the dogs are actually tearing off their own fur. They're doing it to themselves by biting and scratching and itching it. I thought it would just all fell out and you get all itchy that they're scratching their skin, but actually they're the ones ripping their own fur out. They're just destroying themselves. And scabies is fucked up. It is not. It's not a half-assed disease. Because I had it and it's fucking awful. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I fucking had it, and it is fucking terrible. It is nightmarish. It is every moment of your life, you feel like you're itchy on every part of your body, and you feel like there's bugs crawling all over you, and you cannot get rid of it. It takes a very long time to get rid of it. You can't just take a pill. You can't just fucking take a shower with a special soap. It takes a long time to get rid of it. And these poor dogs have no idea what's going on. It's parasites.
They're fucking terrible.
It's parasites.
You think ticks are bad? No.
Oh, buddy. Yep. Yeah, it's awful, man. And I feel so bad for these dogs now, knowing that they had that disease and they couldn't solve it. They just ripped their entire skin apart, which I can relate to. It's better at some point to be in pain than to be itchy. When you hit that threshold where it goes, you're more itchy than you are in pain. You'd rather be hurt. It's like when you're driving your car and your foot's itchy, and you can't take your shoe off to scratch it, so you just start slamming your foot on your foot. You ever do that? I try to hurt myself. Like if I can hurt myself, I won't itch anymore. But I'd rather be in pain than itchy.
Or you're taking a really big shit and you have to bite your thumb to.
What?
Well, I thought that would happen to everyone.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, it does. I was just being weird. No, yeah, everyone does that.
I guess I had a different version. Everybody bites their thumb while they're pooping, but you.
You're a very naughty boy, and that's contrary to evil come out of your asshole. Yeah. Anyways, you need a cone of shame, I think, for that one, and so do I.
Yeah, mange pretty tough. That's why you
mangy mutt.
You think they're so crazy. You see dogs harming themselves, and then they start getting infected, and they start growing bumps and shit, and it's fucking terrifying.
And their skin
you don't
looks
know
all
what it
weird.
is.
It looks awful. I'll put a picture and a viewer description advice of dogs with mange. They look like the Chupacabra is described. They don't look anything like dogs to that level of their sickness. It's really fucking crazy. They look like burn victims because they're victims of their own, circumstance, as Curly would say.
Circumstance. I want to talk about one more thing. I think we should take a break before we go to the next segment. We had, in good old Marlborough, Massachusetts, in my parents' backyard, probably 10 years ago now. Well, we were like, what is that thing? We were like, someone was like, well, it's a Chupacabra. Someone actually said it. It ended up, through research, we found out, we believe it was a hairless woodchuck.
Hairless woodchuck.
And it's because
how much wood would a hairless woodchuck would if a hairless woodchuck could chuck hairless wood?
Not that much. We only saw it a couple times compared to other woodchucks we saw for years.
Oh no!
But
it was definitely sick.
I'll see if I can. I'll try to get the picture for you. Very low chance I'll actually send it to you, but.
I don't know, man. It could be El Chupacabra. I mean,
it was very small, but it was like this gray thing, hairless,
baby Chupacabra,
and it would just sit there and it would eat the grass. But you see it's like any fluffy dog, get them wet. You're like, oh, that's a really skinny dog. You don't realize how small it was without its fur. So we couldn't tell what this thing was.
Your mind is not used to seeing that. Yeah. So
and it was so. But I remember having it in the backyard. We saw it a couple times. We took some pictures of it, and I don't know who it was. Someone literally, like, jokingly was like, maybe it's a chupacabra.
Chupacabra. I don't know how to say grass in Spanish, but chupa grass.
Chupacabra.
The grass sucker.
Shoot them.
We'll see you on the other side of the commercial at Toilet Line with Tom and Joe. Thanks.
Hey guys, Dylan from the Dylan Joe Basement Podcast here. Sorry for missing this episode on the Chupacabra, but I do have a couple important things to say. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of sightings of this creature, and it has cost the lives of really many beautiful people down in Mexico and South America. So, yes, of course the Chupacabra is fucking real. Are you kidding me? Jesus H. Christ. What the hell is that?
And we're back yet again from this fine episode of Toilet Line. We're talking about the goat sucker. Two different kinds of it.
The goat
They're
of
both.
goats.
We kind of know it's not real. There's too many accounts to prove it's not real. It's surprisingly new as far as mysterious beings go, and it's just
people had camcorders when it was invented. It's pretty recent.
It's what, like, fax machines were on their way out.
AOL was on top of the world.
You could get free AOL minutes on a CD in your Captain Crunch box, along with the wonderful Captain Crunch game. One of the best games ever made.
We must have mentioned this in an old podcast, because I remember saying it on a video, but there was a period in time, it was over a year, where the major manufacturer for compact discs in the world, they produced more discs than any company by far, was AOL. There was more AOL free trial CDs than there was albums of Led Zeppelin,
the Beatles,
Rolling Stones, the Beatles, because they were just all just dishing them out to everybody. No one was buying.
Talk about what a way to sell your business. You're not able to just do like online subscriptions yet. It's like, so how do you do it?
Yeah.
I need 1,000 hours of AOL.
Here
Let me go buy the gold disc, not the silver disc. You load it up, and your computer goes, "Oh, start the countdown." When it hits 1,000 hours, I'm going to stop working. Then he's going to have to go buy another disc to reload it.
No one does minutes for
internet. No one does minutes for phones anymore either, unless you're retired.
No one even has. Right. Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. But yeah, no one actually has to pay per minute for anything now, because they realize that structure is not feasible, because people won't pay for minutes anymore.
No, that's why they would. That's how texting etiquette started. LOL, OMG. Yeah. They're like, I'm not going to type out, laugh out loud. I'm not going to type out, ha, 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 ha.
Wasting my letters.
Ha. Or as Brendan would go, blah, ha, ha, ha. It's LOL.
That's why I always type out ha, ha, ha now, because LOL, although it was of its time, I never believe LOL now. If people say LOL, I go, okay, that's what you type when you say I'm supposed to laugh.
That's when you're like, I don't know what to say. LOL.
I'm actually laughing. This is me laughing just so you can see it, you know.
I'm a big fan of the crying laughing emoji, because I only do that with something I'm actually laughing with. I'm like,
same here. I did too. It's great stuff. It's good stuff. It helps texting. The emojis are also.
I love so I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of times when you text me nowadays, I respond like super fast, because I'm driving
Jellyfish.
And it pops up. Thank you for that Gorilla's content or shout out, whatever, mention. But as I'm driving, I got Apple CarPlay going, so my music stops and it reads the text. It pops up, text from Joe Collins. I click on it immediately, because it's still, I don't have to go through all the extra steps. It's right there. It reads me the thing, and I can talk back and to send it back. So that's why I'm like, it's like you send me a text, it's like 5 seconds later you get the response. I'm like, am I doing this too fast? But
never too fast.
When you send me emojis and I have the car read it, it will tell me what the emoji is.
It says it?
Yeah. It'll say...
So it says crying, laughing emoji.
Yeah, like eyes rolling emoji. I got one from Dylan, and it was monkey hear no evil emoji.
That's so great. It says that. So they all have actual
descriptions.
Monkey hear no evil emoji. That's hilarious. I never heard that before.
You can't send an emoji by voice, though. That would be a great advancement.
That would have been great. Monkey hear no evil emoji, monkey speak no evil emoji, monkey see no evil emoji. And then it just goes boop, boop, boop. Like that.
That's crazy stuff.
It's
Chupacabra
like that, y'all.
emoji.
It's like that, y'all. It's like that. And it just says, shows a goat and a vampire, and you're like, AI has gotten too strong too fast. It figured it out.
Dude,
Then goat
see,
sucker.
I don't know. Maybe you've heard about it because I know you're not on Snapchat, but Snapchat introduced
Have you seen this? Have you heard about
introduced
this?
an AI that you can talk to, and all of a sudden everyone just got a message from this. It just says AI, and it has like a blue skin, but like still like sort of humanoid face that goes along with
But
it.
it's not Allen Iverson, because you'd be able to.
It's not Allen Iverson, no.
Yeah.
And I'm so against AI. I haven't opened the initial thing they send you just to announce what it is.
Oh, yeah. You actually did bring this up on Battle
Oh, did I?
You made a stand. you took a stance. You're like, I am against AI and fuck
Yeah.
this. And
Because
fuck
I
that.
named it, I renamed it on Snapchat as "fuck off AI."
You
I'm
did
sure I
mention
did.
that,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
funny. Yeah. Your stance is. I can't wait to the AI episode with Andrew where you have to take the opposite. I think it's going to be me and Andrew against you and Dylan. I'm guessing. Andrew might be against
I don't
it
know.
too.
Dylan
but I can't
actively uses ChatGPT all the time. I won't touch.
Right, but he's
anything
also
that's
also afraid of things he didn't understand, so he might be on your side with that because he's gonna immediately quote movies like he usually does when it has to, like comes to do say with like subject matter. He'll be like, I don't know, there's a movie I saw. It's like, yeah, that's
of
your
course. Yeah.
your evidence is a movie. So I can see him being on your side immediately. He'd be like, I don't know, Terminator, Matrix. What more do you need?
Yeah, no,
movies
I
that
got
were
bad-
made about
I
this
have better
idea.
reasons than that shit. Yeah, anytime I'm scrolling through Reddit, it's like, oh, AI did this. I go, nope. AI, I go, nope.
Yeah.
Like I don't even want to look at it. I don't want to give it the views.
Yeah. So you guys, I'll stay tuned for the main feed of DJ BP. We're talking about AI pretty soon. But right now we're talking about the Chupacabra. I think we're pretty much done with the idea of the Chupacabra. Like we said, it's like any other cryptid. Dylan's not here to defend it, so they're fake. There's a reason why things that you don't know about aren't real. Like, you never heard about the last 3 species of beetles that were discovered in the past 10 years, but you hear about the Chupacabra all day.
Oh yeah.
You think it's easier to find a beetle in the depths of the Amazon than a Chupacabra
I mean, come on.
on your fucking farm? Come on, people. Like,
You
be
keep
real.
seeing the goats
Obviously,
are dying.
it's weird.
Just watch. Oh, when the people are out there, it doesn't come out. Oh,
Yeah. I watched the whole thing on Monster Quest. They put all the trail cameras up, and they caught one possum, and then they have a post that got scratched up, but the camera wasn't facing it, so what are you going to do? It's like, we have more technology than ever. If it's going to be there, you're going to see it. And and the only time you can even falter on that, like we said in past episodes, is the deep ocean or deep space. If it's in your backyard and you saw it, you should have seen it. And just because you didn't see it one time, that's normal. If a million people didn't see it a million times, it ain't fucking there. I'm sorry to tell you. It's unfortunate. we
does
have too much
not
evidence for it.
exist.
Yes, there is animals killing your pets and your livestock, but they just don't happen to be mythical creatures. They are creatures that are perfectly described and understood by science, and they're weird. Whether it's cross hybrids between dogs and coyotes, or mangy mutts, or even the Zolo, the Mexican hairless dog, they are all perfectly reasonable explanations for things that exist in the world today. That's Chupacabra, but that doesn't mean we can't respect people who stood up in their time of need of their people. And if you are a leader of men and women in the world, and your country, nay, your family, calls upon you to rise up and solve this problem, you do. And I think that calls for a toast, as is toilet wine tradition.
Of course, anyone who has been with us for Toilet Wine before knows we always toast someone at the end of it. And for this time, we're going to be toasting Canavaras Mayor, who was running for re-election, that took it upon himself, as we said earlier, back of a pickup truck, holding a giant cross, towing a goat in a cage with 20 plus
He rose
men
up to
going
defend
around
his
him.
people.
Here's a toast to his nickname, Kimo Soto, for keeping the people, or at least trying to keep the people of Canavaras, Puerto Rico, safe in 1995.
The Kimo Soto.
And with that, thank you for joining us for another Toilet Wine.
See you next time. I don't think that the Chupacabra was at all
questionably an animal or even a force of God. I don't believe that, even for a second.
So anyways, sorry to all our Canadian listeners. We haven't had any French listeners so far, so why don't you parlez-vous your own language there, Pierre. It's a human response. It's part of your biology. When you see things that cause a threat to you, your brain spikes up and you remember shit like that. You're watching a horror movie. That's the Sharon Stone one. That's Sharon. That Basic Instinct. That's Sharon Stone. Yeah. Species is a different movie. Oh my God.
Armed police officers.
Oh yeah, he brought in the big guns to kill the Chupacabra.
He stood in the bed of a truck with a giant cross while a trailer pulled a goat in a cage.
Well, how else
so they
would
could
you
get this thing?
How else would you do it? That's the way to do it, right? Because then you have the strength of Christ protecting you, and you have the bait, and everyone has their semi-automatic assault rifles to kill
200 people walking around a goat is definitely going to get a predator to be like, that looks like a safe way to go get that animal.
Myself, like, if I can hurt myself, I won't itch anymore. But like, I'd rather be in pain than itch.
Or you're like, you're taking your really big shit, and you have to like bite your thumb to.
What?
Well, I thought that would like happen to everyone.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, it does. I was just being weird. No.